Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Spencer Shaw. We got our first out-of-towner. No, our second out-of-towner in the studio today. Spencer, where'd you drive in from?
Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
Not Ohio.
No.
That would be an incredible drive.
Yeah.
In fact, Cleveland, Texas, which is just north of Houston.
Yeah, about 60 miles.
60 miles. What? 60 miles north of Houston?
Yep.
What's the drive into downtown Houston? 2 hours?
Probably an hour and a half.
Oh, not bad.
On a bad day.
Hour and a half?
Which is almost every day in Houston.
Yeah. Yeah, not too
Austin,
bad.
You know, traffic's.
Yeah, we got the traffic. We got two hot spots in Austin. We got Mopac and 35. They're both right next to downtown. And once you get that spot, the traffic's beat. So that's why most people, when they live north of the river, they also work north of the river.
Gotcha.
Rarely do people work south and live north, vice versa.
Yeah, don't have a choice.
Yeah. The only reason I'm bringing that up is because this is an Austin, Texas podcast, so it's good to know the traffic patterns.
Yeah.
So we wanted to bring Spencer in. Spencer Shaw, everybody. Prior U.S. Navy, prior state trooper.
That's true. Yep.
State of Texas.
Yep.
And a bunch of other things. Some of this stuff, oh, shoot, we just messed up already. We can't say where you're from.
Well.
Oh my gosh, we're going to get in trouble. Crap. Worst toast. All right.
Good.
All right. Somewhere in Cleveland. No, it's Ohio, everybody. It's Ohio.
Yeah.
Cleveland, Ohio. Very good. Let's get it popping with the story. What are you doing right now?
So, as of like, what does my day look like?
Exactly.
What's it filled
Yeah.
with? And right now we're doing a pretty good bit of investing.
Who's we?
My company, my team.
You. Oh.
But I'm the sole owner, proprietor, right?
Yeah.
But I have a lot of people that work for me, work with me, help me. You know how it is. A little bit of stress here and there, but we've got we're sold out on product for the rest of the year.
When you say we, and you say product, what is the we's name?
Shaw Construction. Really, it's Shaw Properties and Construction LLC. But
right,
you know, when you own a company or you start a company, you almost look at it like its own thing, like its own, almost like it's a child of yours that you have to nurse, and it is definitely an entity.
Yeah.
But you have to take care of it and watch it grow and keep it safe right here in the palm of your hand, right? So I'm always saying we, as in me, my wife, my kid, my company, our accountants, our vice president.
What's your organizational chart look like for the business side of things?
As far as day-to-day operations?
You've got you, okay? Probably have construction workers. The guys are tacking nails and stuff like that.
Right.
You got the CPA. Who else?
Vice president of operations.
Who's that?
His name's Matt.
Matt?
Yeah, he's been with me since the very beginning.
What's he like?
Very, very critical.
Is he more the detail-oriented, like
Very much
spreadsheet guy?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Who's the spreadsheet guy?
It's a girl.
It's a girl.
3 girls, actually.
Yeah.
But they're, we have an office about 10 minutes from my house, and my wife, I also count as one of those. It takes about 3 to keep everything straight.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dang, that's good.
It is, yeah.
So you're building houses.
Of course. Yeah.
So there's people living in a Shaw home.
100%. Many people, as we speak.
I want to see a picture of your houses.
Yeah, I will.
That's cool.
I'll show you. Yeah.
Dang, I want to build a house.
Yeah. Anytime.
How do you stamp it?
As far as...
how do you leave your mark on the house? Or is it simply the style that you produce? That people can see it and say, that's a Shaw home.
They can, actually.
Yeah.
But it wasn't on purpose. One of the most famous houses we did, and I say famous, like local to our area, it's right off the highway. It's a big 7,000 square foot farmhouse. Okay.
Whoa.
It's massive. And it's a farmhouse.
Yeah.
And by default, we've become the farmhouse people of our area. Like if you want a farmhouse, like a modern luxury farmhouse, our phone's ringing.
Oh.
Every time.
Those are nice.
They are nice.
Dang.
Yeah. We've gotten really dang good at building them.
Yeah.
Know all the ins and outs of the farmhouse. Yeah. But, that wasn't on purpose, though. We literally built anything. Commercial, residential, doesn't matter. But farmhouse is what the demand has been. So, of course, we morphed to that, right?
Wow.
So,
Dang. That sounds pretty cool. Yeah. Is it a modern twist? Modern farmhouse?
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
But every one of our houses is so custom. Like, I mean, if you sign with us, of course, I'm not trying to sell you a house right now, but it's the truth. If you sign with us, you're picking out every piece of floor, even down to your cabinet hardware. Like, you're picking it all out. So really, it's whatever they tell us to build. Doesn't matter what it is. We make it happen.
What's the average build time from the time you sit down with them to sign contracts to the time they get the keys? In
about 3.5 months.
Wow. Yeah. That's great.
We go hard.
Homes. We go hard.
So when we sign the closing documents to the title company and we officially close the deal, it's about 3.5 months. In reality, I never tell them that. You know, I always have the wives asking me. It's always the wives saying, "Hey, when you think you'll be done by Christmas, or what about Thanksgiving?" You know, and I just tell them 8 months, but it always ends up being about 3.5.
What a pleasant surprise!
Right?
That's Ritz-Carlton, surprise and delight.
Yeah, but we only get about 4 houses going at once, and we just hammer them.
Yeah,
and then we'll do the next set instead of big volume that takes all year. Little volume chopped up in pieces makes it more manageable.
We like manageable,
of course.
Sounds lovely.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, how long you been in the building business?
Oh man, officially?
Yeah,
probably 3.5 years officially. But my whole life I've been, my family was home builders.
And you got to remember the first house that you built and the first buyer to live in it. You got to remember where that one is.
Of course.
Of course. What a significant moment that must have been.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
Think about being proud of yourself.
Yeah. That's all I was.
Cool.
I was.
Not everybody's, I don't know, man. Not everybody's building a house. It's pretty significant.
Right.
It's pretty cool. All right. Real cool. Now, talk a little about what you're doing now in life. Is there anything missing from the pie?
As far as right now?
What you're doing now.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, that's just the business side of it.
Okay. What else you got?
The rest of my time is spent with my family or at the church serving the Lord.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
how far is your church?
About 20 minutes.
Perfect. Yeah. Big church?
Big church.
Really?
Not mega church.
No.
But a church that's definitely growing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, given my background, I help them out where I can with security and just stuff like that. And it's just, I'm just lucky to even be there.
Yeah. It's a gift.
It is a gift from God, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
To even be able to serve the Lord and believe on His name, right? But yeah, we'll get into more of that too.
Oh, all right.
But it takes up a lot of my time, which I'm
really
very happy about.
Yeah.
So I'd say that, I would love to sit here and tell you that takes priority over everything all the time, but it doesn't. It's a balance between the company, my wife, my brand new kid. It's a wild man.
Who's a wild man?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, folks. For those of you that don't know, which is everybody, I actually known Spencer for a long time. A long time. I've been to his house before, met his folks, and yeah, you were a wild man back in the day, especially your growing up years.
Yeah.
Right in the woods of Cleveland.
Yeah.
You did your story list is extravagant.
Yeah.
And, being a fellow bro, I got a lot of respect for those stories. Yeah, dude, way to tear it up. But those days are long gone, thankfully.
No doubt.
Now your son, it seems to have adopted those traits. Good luck.
No doubt about it. I'm already noticing it. So,
cool. Yeah. It's amazing. Here we go. You're building houses, beautiful products. How do people take a look at your inventory line?
They go on Facebook or our website.
What's the website?
ShawPropCon.com.
ShawPropCon?
Yeah. Short for properties and construction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you take the big one, you make it the little one.
Yeah.
ShawPropCon.com. I cannot wait to see, dude. I'm serious. I love to see.
We kind of struggle in the marketing aspect because...
What do you mean?
Like, we're so busy. It's
no, you don't need to, really.
Right.
It's just, it's word of mouth.
Right.
You got plenty of work. In the event that you're like, hey, let's build around the country, then maybe do that.
Then maybe.
But right now you're freaking capacity.
100%.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
It's a great thing.
Yeah. Now, let's throw way back because you're in Cleveland now. To my understanding, you were born there.
I was.
You were?
I was.
Wow. So you know it like the back of your hand.
I do.
Ah, very cool. Very cool. Now, Let me ask you this. Did you take the school bus or did your parents drive you to school?
Depends on what year.
Elementary school.
Both my parents working class backgrounds.
Let's
So
click, shine a flashlight on the elementary years.
Mm-hmm.
What is what? Kindergarten through 5th grade.
Yeah.
Did you take the school bus?
100%.
Yeah?
Actually, no. Now that I'm thinking back, I rode my grandma, who was a teacher at the elementary,
You rode your grandma.
with my grandma.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And I remember riding with her because I was always a real tired kid, staying up late, whatever mischief I was up to, who knows.
Yeah.
And I'd always fall asleep in the. We live like 3 minutes from the school, but I would always fall asleep in the passenger seat of my grandma's Cadillac. And when the speed limit would drop from 65 to 55, she's slamming on the brakes, and it wake me up every time.
She knew what she was doing.
Trauma. Oh yeah, she did.
Grandma.
Looking back, yeah.
Let him sleep, will you? Come on, it's a tired guy.
She was just playing the old lady after I woke up, But she knew.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
It's a good memory.
I haven't even thought of it since then, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, all right, you're getting dropped off by grandma, and when you get back to the house, what's the atmosphere like? You're living with mom and dad. You got any brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I got one sister.
Got a sister?
Yeah, older than me.
Older. Okay. So you walk inside of the house. What's it like? What's the ambiance? Everything good and gravy, or is it a little dark and...
No, everything's good and gravy, man.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you like most about those years? What did you like the most? What do you remember the most?
I remember the most going to the deer lease with my dad, riding four-wheelers, killing deer, skinning deer, processing meat, fishing.
Yeah.
Just good old country boy life.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't a dark childhood at all, man. I had a really good, thankful for that. My parents made sure that,
in these interviews, I think more times than not, people had rough stuff come up.
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
Which makes you give glory to God even more for that, for putting me there. Could have been anywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, what a nice thing.
What a nice thing.
Yeah, so your folks, they're taking good care of you. Your grandma's living up the road.
Right up the road. Yeah.
Right up the road.
Right up the road.
What about Grandpa? Was he around?
He wasn't.
Oh, no.
No.
What happened to him?
He died before I was born.
Oh, dang.
And he actually started a lumber yard.
Yeah.
And a pretty big lumber yard at the time in Cleveland called Hub Supply. And he built a few things. And from what I understand, his dad built a few things. It's a really long line.
Us Shaw boys, we're known to build a few things.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. So it comes naturally to you.
It does. It does. Very low friction.
What a beautiful way to honor your family legacy as well. And you didn't really intend on it. It just kind of fell into place.
Oh, yeah. It did.
Right? Because
100%.
you wanted, I know you want to be a Navy SEAL at one point.
I did, yeah.
You were in the program even.
I was.
Yeah, you were ready to jump out of helicopters and go swimming all day.
100%.
Right.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah, the best of times. And then all of a sudden, you got into the tomato business, which we'll talk about here in a little while, and then boom, building.
Right.
Which are all a contrast from one another.
Of course.
I never met one guy in my life that was growing tomatoes and all of a sudden building houses.
Oh, yeah.
Or vice versa. I never met one, so we're going to dive into that.
I'm looking forward to it. I've never unpacked it all in one spot, I don't think.
So we're going to get there.
Yeah.
So, all right. Elementary school, relatively unscathed. Get any fights?
Yeah. A lot of fights.
How come?
Just wild out there.
People talking smack on your sister.
Yeah.
And you say, leave her alone. No.
Probably, but I just don't remember.
All right. So just general fighting.
You're so bored out in the country. And it's out in the country. There's really nothing to do. And then back then it was like, we had AOL. We had dial-up internet, and the computer weighs about 85 pounds.
Yeah.
You remember those days, yeah.
I remember.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Emails.
Watching all the traffic go down at the bottom left of the screen for like 30 minutes just to pull up a page. Yeah. Instant Messenger, all this stuff. So there wasn't really much trouble to get into on the internet either. So it was, let's go blow stuff up. Let's go shoot some stuff. Let's go, stuff like that.
Yeah. Fight. Stick fights?
Any fights.
We used to do stick fights.
Yeah. At one point I got shot in the forehead with a pellet rifle. Yeah.
Dude, that could be ooh.
Yeah.
Some pellet rifles are strong.
I know. My friend popped out of the bushes, right point blank range, right in my forehead. And I had to lie to my parents and tell them I ran to the side of a building. Yeah. That's the kind of life out there, Dude. But I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah. Sounds lovely. Getting shot in the forehead.
Yeah. I mean, it's,
No. That's crazy. What the heck?
It happened though.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. That's probably one of the better things I've ever heard on this podcast. I'm so glad you made it through.
Yeah.
Because some pelicans, dude, they pack a furious punch.
100%.
You better, talk about God. Thank God that kid's parents didn't give him one of those.
100%. Yeah, and I held on to that lie for a long time. I never told anybody that he shot me in the head. I didn't want to get in trouble, man.
How did you confront him after he shot you in the
I
head?
think I did.
What?
I think it was just like, oh, and then, all right, let's move on. It's covered up, I don't remember though. It's been so long.
Yeah.
So long.
Yeah. Look,
So
I'm just putting myself in your shoes for a second. Somebody pops up out of a bush.
yeah.
He shoots me in my forehead. I'm probably gonna have to have a conversation.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, "Hey, look, man.
Yeah.
That could have been my eyeball,
Right.
and then we would have had a different story here."
No, it could have been.
Oh, all right. Anyways, yeah, kid stuff. Water under the bridge.
Yeah.
So you got in some fights. What about principal's office? You ever go to the principal's?
A lot. Yeah. Yeah. A lot.
How come?
I was just a haphazard kid, man. I was always into something.
Did you ever bring anything weird into the classroom?
I did.
Like a backpack full of snakes or something?
No, not that I remember.
No. Well, good.
It's it's just.
But
I got in a lot of trouble.
You did, yeah, me too.
One time I got this was high school. It's funny even saying this now because it's so different back then. But me and my friend were making a pipe bomb, a real one.
Yeah.
In high school, legit. Okay. We were just gonna, just gonna blow some stuff up. No big deal.
Yeah.
And a mag teacher catches us, and we're sitting there welding on this pipe. Right. We're welding one end and we're threading the other end so we can dump gunpowder down it and tighten it down and light it up.
Whoa.
And but the second one we made, first one we didn't get caught, and all he did was confiscate it. So that no big deal. Yeah.
You must have been liked.
Dude,
your family must have been trusted.
No, I mean it was a different time back then.
Come on.
It wasn't. Oh, these kids are the next Columbine. They're making a bomb at school. It was just like, they're idiots. Just confiscated it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? There's only a few states you could probably get away with that. Texas, Florida. Alabama, probably. But in New York, dude, if you did that as a kid, you're done for.
You're done for.
You're freaking smoked.
You're smoked.
Yeah, have a nice day. Going to jail at 5 years old.
100%. We were more like 14 there. 15.
Oh, 14. Okay. Yeah. It's a great story. So let's move on to the middle school era. All right. What was life like for you in your social circle? Because a lot of the times things shift. You get into a bigger school. You get your hormones, so now you're not just looking at your buddies for hanging out. You also might be looking at chicks, which could change things.
100%.
Yeah. So what was it like for you in your social circle? Who are you hanging out with? Were you dating at the time? What was it like?
Man, I met one of my best friends in the 7th grade who moved from like the ghetto of Houston, Cloverleaf's the area. Anybody listening from Houston hears that, they'll know it's the hood.
Yeah.
And he was hardcore. And he was the only one that I was the only one that really talked to him, right? We became best friends all throughout high school and a few others. And
you got a nickname for him that you can use on the show?
We'll just call him D-Man.
D-Man.
Yeah.
All right.
And he's an FBI agent now, of all things. Yeah. Have been a long time. Real funny story. He was cool. He was just as crazy as I was about. But in that 7th, 8th grade, given it's been a long time, I did start shifting into organizing people and drinking at a very young age. 8th grade.
8th grade. You're drinking? How old is that?
Almost every week.
14? 15?
I think it was more like 13. I'm not sure.
So, yeah.
But we would get into my grandma. We lived with my grandma at the time. My whole family did.
How come?
Because the house we grew up in, my parents sold. And my dad, do you remember that place you went to? Yeah. I think it's been 10 or 11 years from now.
Yeah.
Or back then.
I remember driving up. House is on the right.
Yeah.
A little barn thing on the left.
Big red barn.
Field on the left, too.
That's 50 acres.
Yeah.
And my dad pretty much sacrificed everything to buy that place. And he did. He made it happen. And but we had to move in with my grandma.
Okay.
until we could afford to build that place out there.
Yeah.
So we were living with my grandma for like 3 years.
That was the best time of your life.
It was for what was priority for me at the time.
Yeah.
It was
Oh.
then. But my grandma had a big liquor cabinet. And what we would do is we would get into her liquor and we would make ourselves drinks, specifically orange juice and vodka or whatever we could get our hands on. And we'd fill the alcohol back up with water.
Right.
And no one drank. It was just
Do the
old
same
liquor.
thing, dude.
Yeah.
They
It was
used
just
to do
old
the same
liquor.
thing, yeah.
So we discover alcohol. We think it's the best thing ever. Zero wisdom. Just stupid kids. Right?
I can only imagine.
We started drinking, man. And fighting. And drinking. That's pretty much, that carried on forever. Until
drunk?
way later in life. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I was such an alcoholic at one point. I would drive to school hungover, but also still very intoxicated.
Yeah.
And I crashed my car one time. One time I woke up in the air and there was like a telephone pole passing me.
Oh.
I was in the air, like 30 feet up in the air, ran for the driveway,
Oh,
stuff like that. It was bad.
that'll wake you up.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was crazy. I
So
don't know.
that became an issue.
It did. And we were very good at covering it up. So my parents,
Yeah, they just
They-
think you're a teenage kid.
yeah, and they caught us a few times, but they were like, oh, just a teenage kid, no big deal. No one really knew, except me and my friends, like how much we really drank, and how much that alcohol had control over us at that point in our life. Dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you're a grandma out there, you better lock up that liquor cabinet.
You better.
Put a combination on it.
100%.
Yeah. Even if you're a parent.
And
too.
I don't know, I was never told if anyone tried to drink that liquor later in life, but there's no way. Like, it had to be, it had to be all water. Like, there's no way it was good.
They take a shot and they go, what?
Man, we were evil. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you mean you were?
We were just so good at covering everything up.
And you probably had some times where you might have been a little bit scared about the result or the fact that you had the capacity to act in a certain way. So let's talk about those times that came up in the middle school era. What happened?
Well, the middle school's still kind of it's kind of a blur. I just
Kind of a
remember
ramp up?
Yeah.
Okay, a ramp up.
High school is really where.
Before we get to high school, say you're in middle school, and what about the girl thing? Was that a thing for you in middle school yet?
It was.
It was.
I had a few girlfriends.
A few, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sports.
Here and there.
Were you an athlete? Really?
No, I played some sports, but I was never naturally an athlete back then.
I'm surprised because you're an athlete
Well, now.
now.
But then I was a late bloomer also.
Okay.
So all my friends are, looking like young men, and I'm still looking like I'm in the 5th grade.
Oh,
I was short. I was tiny.
short. Because you're what, 6'2" now?
Almost 6'3".
Almost 6'3". Yeah. Wow. Okay. So middle school hit, and you haven't really developed all that much yet. Did you get in trouble in school at that time as well? Probably your whole career of school.
Whole career.
You're getting in trouble.
And part of that reason, looking back, was like, I was not made for public school. I was not made for curriculum. I wasn't. I just couldn't be me. I didn't care about the stuff I was learning in school. And, looking back on it, is school doesn't really teach you much things useful.
Get that.
Yeah. Not things that me and you were going to use by any means.
Nope.
So-
Like that math, dude. Most of the math we use in school, when's the last time I did math on my calculator for plus and minus?
Yeah.
I
I do math all the time. And guess what? It's very simple math.
super simple math.
Math you can explain to someone in 15 minutes
Yeah.
to build a whole house.
Yeah, and
It's
yet we
not.
took hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of math our whole lives.
Countless.
What a waste of freaking time.
What a
dude.
waste of time.
Seriously, truly.
Now, I remember asking my teachers, am I ever going to use this stuff? No, probably not. Why are we learning it? I just had a problem with the whole thing growing up. I was always going against it all.
What was the most ridiculous thing you've ever gone to the principal's office for in your middle school career?
I'm trying to remember something.
You remember
It might have-
walking in.
It might have been for spanking.
You remember the principal.
Spanking my buddy with a giant paddle I made at Nag. He didn't know it was coming. And I hurt him. Yeah.
He was your buddy?
Yeah.
How'd you go to the principal's office then? He told on you? Or your
We were
teacher
always,
saw
it
it?
was a very small school, man. It was always like you're just being watched.
Oh.
We still have those too. I found them one time, moving my parents' stuff around for them. And like, up my dad's attic. It's funny.
I think I've got a really ridiculous thing. I bought this belt. It was in high school though. I bought this belt that scrolled text, LED text across it. You know, I was just being a punk teenager,
Of course.
and I wrote MILF Hunter on it, and
I thought you were cool.
I thought it was funny. And then this lady goes, MILF Hunter. Oh. She was a hall monitor. She's somebody's mom working at this school. She goes, oh, that's so funny. What is that? And I was like, oh, don't worry about it. And then she found out what it meant. Her son told her. And then, I had to go to the principal's office.
Yep.
Up my belt.
Yep.
So, she told on me.
It happens.
Happens. So carrying on with the journey of alcoholism in late middle school, into high school. What happened next?
It evolved. So I tried to play a little bit of sports in 7th or 8th grade. I did remember that as you were talking. Quit that. Wasn't any good at that.
Yeah.
And I was always a real social guy, organizer, always. So even when I was little, man, my mom would be like, you know, you can't go over to so-and-so's house until you mow the yard, weed eat, and pick up limbs. And she'd give me all these tasks that were impossible for me to do alone in one day, you know?
Dang.
And I say, okay. And I'd be back then it was just landlines, no cell phones. And I'd be on the landlines talking to parents, getting them to drop their kids off to help us help me complete this yard work, right? Yeah. That happened a few times. But transcend all that to high school. And I've got kids not eating lunch, like 10 or 12 kids not eating lunch all week to give me their lunch money at the end of the week so we can all buy alcohol with it. So as a kid, freshman, sophomore, this went on forever, but I'd have $200 or $300 in my hand. And back then that was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
And that land that I told you my dad worked his butt off and my mom worked her butt off to get, we would go hunting and we would use it just a platform to drink more alcohol. Okay. Out in the country, that's literally all we did. And we had 4-wheelers. It's a wonder we didn't die. Yeah. One of us almost did die, actually. He went to the hospital for a long time. It's another story. He crashed his 4-wheeler. But anyways, yeah. So we would just use that for party money all throughout high school. And before you know it, like by the end of my senior year, we would have, 100, 200 kids from multiple schools all coming to the pasture to party.
It was great.
It was crazy.
Yeah, that's great. And
it was unhinged.
And terrible in another sense.
Yeah. Nothing good came from it. I will say that.
Yeah. So talking about those times where you were surprised about your capacity, or something that might have happened as a result from this.
Oh yeah.
Let's dive into a couple of those things that come to mind. What happened? Did anything happen?
A lot happened, but it's hard to put my finger on any of it.
Any specific thing? Yeah.
There's a few that come to mind.
Tell us one. Just one.
One night, we stole a truck. Okay. It's an old Chevrolet, like a 1950 something carbureted engine Chevy. Okay. And I had a buddy who was huge, just big jacked guy. Yeah. And somehow he ripped he messed with the starter somehow. And we ended up starting it with a flathead screwdriver. We jammed it in and we were able to start it. And we take it on a joyride. Okay.
Yeah.
Around the area. Nobody's on the road. Nobody lives here hardly back then.
Yeah.
And this is like 2007 probably.
Yeah.
And we go to turn onto this county road off a state highway. So we're on a state highway. Mm-hmm. And the thing dies.
No.
Yes. And there's an 18-wheeler coming. Middle of the night, driver's probably on autopilot. He's going to T-bone us and kill us. No doubt about it. Of course, I get out and I take off running, right? Because I'm not going to be a part of this.
Yeah, just get the heck out of there.
Yep, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And my buddy stays in it and ends up getting it started and puts it in drive. Just barely gets out of the way of that 18-wheeler.
It would have hit him.
It would have hit him, yeah.
No. Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, man, dude, so many times we could have been dead, and God just didn't let it happen.
We have a mutual friend, acquaintance, that told me a story about putting a fake baby in a carriage, and put it in the middle of the street.
Yeah, that was us.
And so you were there.
That was my idea.
It was your idea?
100%.
Oh, my God. Dude, stop. Look, it's a terrible idea.
Oh yeah,
The fact that you're, a young kid that's just being out there, that's the funny part. It's like, what a bad idea, dude.
Yeah, just the sheer audacity of it that kids have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we put a car seat in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
And we got a Cabbage Patch doll is what it was.
Oh, shit. Dude,
and we put it in the car seat, yeah.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, this is great. Like, someone's going to hit it, and they're going to think it's a kid. Like, this is going to be funny. That's our mindset at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be funny.
It's going to be funny.
Yeah.
And there's a farm market road, 787's the highway. I hope that guy is listening to this podcast because someone did hit it. We're hiding in the woods. Someone hits it, okay?
Oh.
It's not funny, but it's how it went down. It's a very vivid memory. He hits the thing. He's pulling a trailer, empty trailer, this truck. Locks the brakes up. Could have killed the guy. Hits the thing. Boom.
No.
Yes.
No.
Cabbage Patch doll into the woods.
Oh.
You can vividly see it tumbling in the headlights and stuff.
Oh,
yeah. It was like the picturesque, like we got you so good type thing.
Yeah.
Dude gets out. Walks around his truck 2 times, looks around, burns out. We didn't get a chance to say anything to him. Nothing like, hey man, that wasn't real. Like nothing. Burns out. Never heard the next thing.
Whoa.
Yeah. And we were young. And we thought it was like, we had no remorse. We thought it was so funny.
That guy to this day probably thinks he
might.
He might.
He might.
But then again, he might not.
Then again, he might.
I mean, come on. Because what are the odds somebody actually left a real kid in a thing? I mean, come on.
In a car seat, like unstrapped. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. And all you got to do is comb the news for 2 weeks and realize there's not a missing kid. Like you pretty much assume you didn't hit one. Yeah. But the crazy part is like we thought that was so funny. Just no, like, not even a human side to us. We just thought it was funny.
And that's only one story.
That's only one story, yeah. Yeah.
What else happened in high school? You ever been scared?
Yeah.
After you did something, you went home and thought about it and said, what am I doing?
Yes.
What happened?
So in that same exact spot where we put the car seat, we got duct tape and put it across the road. But eye level, okay? And this Suburban's coming.
Chevy Suburban.
Yes.
Okay.
It's coming. Locks the brakes up, hits the duct tape, and snap. It's a couple layers of duct tape, so it makes a loud noise, right?
Oh.
And I take off running. Our mutual friend was there. He was there.
Yeah.
I take off running, and me and one of my buddies hide upstairs in this house, my friend's mom's house.
Yeah.
And the other 2, there was 4 of us. The other 2 are missing. And we're like, man, what happened? And we hear boom, 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 boom. And then the car burns out, and my heart's just going, man. And I'm like, oh, man.
They shot
Bo and Dot are dead, man. They're dead. I'm like, I'm up here hiding under this. It was a pool table. I was hiding under. I was like, what am I going to do? I'm 15. They're dead. And I eventually go back down after like 30 minutes, right, of shelter in place. And the mailbox, his mom's mailbox, it's about yay big. It was a bunch of dudes, a bunch of young military-age males, got out of the car, apparently, with a baseball bat and just downsized the mailbox because they saw us run down the driveway, so they knew we were connected to that mailbox somehow. Mm-hmm. And they had just downsized the mailbox with the bats, and all that loud noise that sounded like gunshots was them just beating the living crap out of the mailbox. Yeah, we were dumb.
Yeah.
Very dumb.
Yeah, I remember chucking snowballs that I've been compacting for probably 25, 30 minutes at this Jeep. I hit it once. I was right on the side of the road. It was a super slow, snowy day, so the cars are driving 5 miles an hour, right? And I went like this. Boom! You heard it, right? It made a thump. And then guy, 20 minutes later, he must have went to his friend's house, driving back the same Jeep. I was like, oh, my God, I got a snowball right here. I'm going to get the same car again.
Time for the other side.
Other side. Yeah. Boom! Smoked it again. I played baseball, so I hit that crap. And they stopped. They parked the car. And then they chased after me in the woods. Luckily, I hit pretty well. Yep. But, man, that was scary.
Yep.
I said, I'm not doing that again. Yeah.
I understand.
But you know what it is? You know what all this is? This is energy. Okay? This is energy. and it's untamed, right? I think as young men, we have a lot of untamed energy. And it could either have us go into the ground to where we just want to stay compacted and safe and play video games all day and not go out in the world. Or we could go like this, up and out and crazy and like do wild crap, learn the hard way and stuff like that. It's very hard to channel and manage it.
No doubt about it.
For most of us. Yeah. So I think, actually I've heard this before, our whole lives we're working on manipulating and managing energy. And you're in a place right now to where you've mostly got it under control.
I don't.
Right.
The Lord does for sure.
Yes.
I'm not very smart by nature.
What?
But
You seem smart.
it's funny you say that though, because when you're going through puberty, you're at that age, you have something called the limbic system in your brain, and I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's what produces our hormones and alters our anger, our sadness, how we perceive something, how we feel even.
Yeah.
Our limbic system. And your prefrontal cortex, right? It's in the telencephalon of the brain, and it filters all of that. So you can't, it's pretty much raw humanity, no filter.
Dang.
When you're that age. And I learned that one of my friends is famous for psychology and stuff now. His name's Chase Hughes. He recently went on Dr. Phil and he talked about that.
Yeah.
And it's just fresh on my mind, but that's a fact.
I didn't know that.
It's just pouring out of you and you can't control it.
So, yeah, if you're a teenage dude, listen to this, right? It's good to have that awareness.
Oh, yes, it is.
Like, hey, this isn't me. This is my body's biological response to growing up.
Right.
That's having me think and act this way. And it could be crazy.
It can be crazy.
Yes. So, high school, you eventually graduated on time.
I did.
Awesome. Okay, good.
Thanks to my Spanish teacher. He
Threw you a bone.
He did.
Yep.
I remember.
Yep. That's really cool because you almost didn't make it.
Almost didn't make it. Yeah, it's fact.
Yep. Yeah, I had to do summer school. I graduated a little late for freaking English class. English class of all things, dude. I speak English for
right.
Whatever. So, what happened next?
Oh, college.
Right after high school, college.
Yep.
Why'd you do that?
I just thought it was the thing to do. At that age, it's like, everybody asks themselves this question at some point in their life. Well, what am I going to do with the life I have, right?
Yeah.
And I had no idea. But all I knew was my mom went to college. My sister was going to college. My friends were going to college. I'm going to college.
Rightfully so.
Can't be wrong, right?
Yeah.
But instead of go to college, I passed my classes. But my parents were, paying for it with all their hard-earned money. And I didn't have the wits about me then to know exactly how that looked.
It's cash out of pocket.
It is. And they weren't rich by any means, my parents. So anyways, fast forward, I'm going to Lone Star College, and then fast forward, I go to Blinn College in College Station, Texas. You've been there, I'm sure.
No, actually.
Really?
I've never been to College Station.
Wow, you should go.
Or the other one that's up there.
You should go.
There's a couple cities up there. Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
What am I going to do up there? Hang out with college people?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right.
Missed your chance. So, anyways, I go up there.
Yeah.
This is where things start really, really changing.
No.
I go up there. I'm doing the same thing I've always done. Drinking myself into the oblivion. Involved in every kind of sin you can possibly imagine. The worst. All right. And
what are you talking about?
As far as what I mean by sin?
What do you mean the worst?
The worst is like...
is there a worst in the eyes of the Lord?
Well, if James does say if we've committed one sin, then if we've broken one law, we've broken them all. What I mean
I get what you're saying. In society, some hold more weight than others.
What I'm saying is if you're reading the Bible and you realize the standard that God set, just even looking at something as basic as the moral law, the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not lie, steal, cheat. That was me,
You were lying?
Of course.
You were stealing?
I would say, I don't remember, but I'm sure in some way.
You cheated?
You could say that. Yeah. School, tests.
I get what you're saying.
I didn't care. I had nothing.
But when you say the worst, what stands out to you? as far as the worst?
Just disregard
Really?
for rules, anything. Just disregard for just anything.
And how did that impact the closest people to you?
Well, I had my friends who were just like me.
Yeah.
And my parents. It impacted my parents, I'd say, negatively, because it just put them through even more stress than what they already had.
Where'd the stress come from? If you're living all the way over there, they barely even see you.
Oh, I was always into something crazy. I got arrested twice.
You
Left
did?
that part out. Yeah.
2 times.
Yeah. Just
For
drinking,
what?
Drinking at bars underage, fighting at bars underage. Yeah. I turned out to be a cop later.
Way to turn around.
Interesting. Yeah. But yeah, I spent the night in jail twice.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it was wild.
Did you learn anything when you're in there? Did any of those jail dudes give you wisdom?
No.
That changed your life forever? No. No, it was just a crappy experience.
It was.
So college, you're out there for 2 years.
In College Station, I'm out there for 6 months.
Oh, that's it?
That's it.
Oh, it looks like a short career. What happened?
Didn't last long. I read a book called The Lone Survivor. I was just kind of like, I just read this book. It sounds cool, whatever. And you know who wrote that? Marcus Luttrell, right? Yeah, fellow Texan. And I'm reading about the Navy SEALs. I'm like, man, these guys are something else. This is something worth my energy right here, whatever this is.
Because you got a lot of energy.
I still had a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And I'm reading, and on top of that, you know, compounded with that book, I'm at the age now where I'm more thinking philosophically now than I ever have been. You know, when you get past, let's say 18, 19, you start entering, or at least I did, like an existential crisis. Like, what's it all about? What am I doing? Where am I going? I'm not living with mommy and daddy anymore. What's the end goal here?
Right.
You know? And people our age, 9/11 affected in some way, shape, or form.
Yep.
I don't know if you remember the day. You probably do, just like
on a
me.
school bus.
Yeah, see, I was in school, and they brought us into the gym, and they were telling us America just got attacked. And I remember watching those towers fall, and I was angry. Even as a youngster, you know, I was angry. And for some reason, that transcended when I was reading this book. And it just all hit me at once. Like, I've got a job to do. I need to join the military. I need to serve the country. And I'm going to be a SEAL no matter what. And I'm sitting on the couch in College Station in the Holloman apartments. And I'm like, I'm not living my life like this anymore. Drop the remote, walk outside, take off running, start training. And I did not stop. Quit my job, trained all day, every day, for a long time.
Yeah. And you felt the respect that you gained back from your family?
I did.
And your friends?
Oh, 100%.
Eliminated some friends?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. See what alignment does?
Yeah.
Towards a higher purpose?
So, and that was the first purpose I ever had, was that.
Right.
And it's the first thing in my life I ever really wanted. Because obviously, you know, any point before this, I was just spinning my wheels, you know, no matter what it was I was doing, it was trouble. So, yeah, I moved back home and keep training. My dad and my mom, they were so proud of me. They'd come to my test, you know, the test you got to do.
Yeah.
You got to swim, run.
Last PST.
100%.
Physical screening test.
That's right. And I got into the program, and eventually I was so hard up, I became top 10% of my buds class, you know, just in the PST, which hindsight means nothing at all.
Yep.
But I knew, like, oh, this is what you want me to do right now. I'm going to do it better than anybody, right? So I did. And then I shipped out to boot camp, and there we go. So that was 2011.
2011. 2 years after me. I was 09.
There you go.
You were 11.
What was your class number?
282.
282.
And you were?
291.
291.
Yeah.
Very close.
Very close.
Same
instructors.
Yep. That's cool. Yeah, that's freaking sweet, man.
Yeah.
I like that. So you get out to Buds Prep. Graduate boot camp, 2 months, right? Easy day.
Right.
Although it felt like a year. You graduate, Buds Prep across the street. How long were you at Buds Prep for?
Dude, I was at Buds Prep the remainder of my time.
How long was that?
Dude, that was like 13 weeks because we were back.
Yeah.
It was not the 8-week Buds Prep.
Right.
Everything was backed up.
Yeah, I was there for 6 months at Buds Prep.
Yeah.
Literally 6 months of swimming, running, weights,
Oh, yeah.
classroom, repeat every day.
Did you have logs and sandbags too there?
No, they didn't even have that.
We did.
That's good.
We did.
Hey, that's
yeah,
fun.
it was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
Plus, you're an hour from Chicago.
Yeah.
You freaking hop on the train for $7 on a round trip.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah.
What happened? What happened at that point in your life? Any pivotal moments come to you?
Yeah, tons.
Really?
Even going back to the training when I was training here stateside. When I was training in Texas right before I went to boot camp, I was not an athlete. When I started training, I couldn't even do one pull-up. I could only do 7 push-ups. 7.
That's crazy because I've only known you as an athlete.
Yeah.
I can't imagine you not athletic.
Dude, my arms were like way smaller than my elbow joints.
Really?
Like I was like skinny. So when I'm doing push-ups, like my elbows are cracking and popping and like hurting. Not even my muscle, my joints.
Aren't you glad you started working out?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
I can't imagine you not
Whole other side
the
of
way
life.
you're at. Yeah.
Right. But, and I appreciate that. Appreciate you noticing. But, but I'm just, it's so crazy where I hadn't thought about it in so long. But I remember running, and wanting to stop because I had stopped my whole life. Anything I'd do, and if it got too hard, I would just back off. And I remember telling myself, like, would a Navy SEAL stop? The answer was always, no, he wouldn't. And I'm going to keep going no matter what. Right. And that's the very beginning of that sort of thinking entering into my life.
What you did is exercise the principle, and the principle goes, the quality of our lives is a direct result of the quality of questions we ask ourselves. And you asked yourself a very powerful question. Would a Navy SEAL stop?
Right.
Nope.
Nope.
And you're not going to stop.
Not a chance.
And you can apply that same principle to everything in your life, by the way. It's a powerful exercise. Keep going.
Questions are definitely important. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
So, and it's hard to really explain. I'm glad you've been through similar things because it's so hard to explain to someone who hasn't.
It's a little weird how we're the same age and all the similarities and things we've done.
Oh,
it's a little out there.
It is strange.
But I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, same. But it's hard to talk to someone who really gets it, because you dedicate like your very being to this thing. Like you're going to be a SEAL, and I had dudes like get up out of the water next to me that had NFL contracts, and they didn't want to be there anymore. And little old me, never been an athlete. I'm not quitting. Sitting there, lips are blue, freezing, teeth chattering, not quitting.
Just don't do it.
Just don't do it.
That's it.
Yeah, just get through this.
It's a choice.
Yeah, quit at night. Quit that night. And then the next day, quit that night.
Yeah.
Just get through the day.
Right. One step at a time. Moral of the story. Yeah.
Moral of the story.
One day at a time. Yeah.
Right. The age-old wisdom, and it works still. And but yeah, tons of pivotal moments there, tons. And then I eventually get a femoral stress fracture on top of like I don't even know how many stress fractures in my tibia and fibia, right? But I get one here, and it gets where every time I take a stride, it feels like somebody's whacking me across the thigh with a bat.
Yep.
And eventually I can't walk hardly. So I get dropped from the program naturally. And I was a boat crew leader, which, take that for what you will, but it's the first leadership position I ever had.
Yeah.
And I had 6 guys with me.
Yeah.
Right. And I was motivated. And when I got dropped from the program, like 10 of my buddies came to my room, pretty much like suicide watch. Like, dude, what are you going to do now? Like you were all in this, Like, this is all you ever talked about, all you ever thought about. Like, what are you going to do? Like, you going to kill yourself? That type of thing. Like,
Side note, men in my buds class have tried to kill themselves. Yes, it happens.
right.
And sometimes their families will say, don't talk to me, you quit. I've heard that
Right.
from guys. It's rough. It can be rough.
From people who weren't even SEALs.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
But and there's no, you'll hardly ever find anyone that goes to buds or the SEAL training pipeline that says, I quit because it sucked. No one hardly ever says that. But by and large, that's usually why they quit.
For sure.
Right.
It sucks.
It does suck.
You're cold.
You're
all the time.
You're wet, and you're tired, and you're sandy.
Yeah.
So, but the thing that stuck out with me so much is they hardly ever will just admit like, that place sucked and I'm never going back. I have a few friends. Like one of them was a swimmer for Texas A&M. He could have breezed through buds, but he just quit. He's like, no, man, that place sucked. I'm done. And he's a fighter pilot. But he'll just straight up tell you, no, that place sucked. I'm not going back.
Not for me.
But by and large, men won't admit it. They won't admit they just quit, right?
Yeah, they figure out a reason.
They figure out a reason, and your excuses, will destroy you and take everything you ever loved from you.
The truth will set you free, if you be honest.
Yes.
We're good at lying to ourselves as humans.
Yeah. So I learned that there.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't take no for an answer. So I went to the instructor's office, a guy with a name named Marco, who we both know. And
the sniper.
Yes.
Yeah.
I rang the bell, and not the quitting bell, the bell to talk to the instructors.
Yeah.
He said, what do you want? I said, this is Shaw. He said, go away. I rang the bell again, even harder. What do you want? It's Marco. Like, nobody messes with Marco. I was nervous.
That guy.
My chest. That guy will kill
when he
you.
looks at you,
yes.
he just looks at you.
He does. He just looks at you, and you feel it.
Like,
yeah.
Hello.
Yes. Hello.
Yeah.
And I go in there and I tell them, like, I want to stay in the program, and they agree. Let me stay in the program. I'm going to drive the vans around, give the guys water, all the buds class. You know how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Though if they like you, they'll come up with something for you to do. Mm-hmm. I'm in the gym.
There's politics. Yep.
Yes.
If you're a goofball, they're going to be like, sorry, pal.
Yeah, it's against policy. Sorry. So I'm in the gym doing pull-ups on my own during all this,
the rehab process,
and all this networking, right, to try and stay in.
Yeah.
And I tear my rotator cuff.
What?
And my whole shoulder's jacked up. I can't even lift it up this high. So I have to throw in the towel.
Yeah.
I wasn't stupid. I knew I was going to have to get surgery and all these other things, and it would be 2 years before I could come back, right?
Dude.
But I wasn't giving up. So I talked to this lady. She's a civilian, but she somehow is in charge of my future at this point.
Miss Monk.
No, not Miss Monk. Miss Monk was a physical therapist.
Oh.
One of the smartest ladies I've ever met in my life, that woman.
Another lady.
This lady was named Miss Green. She had it out for me. She wanted to kick me out of the Navy, like medically discharge me. And I was so distraught about it, man. And finally I started thinking, I was like, you know what? This could be the best thing that ever happened to me. Let her do it. Didn't fight it at all. Not like I could have fought it anyways. I was just a lowly, you're not going to get anything you want.
A number.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so they honorably discharged me, and I went back to college. So I was going to get my degree and go back as a SEAL officer.
Sense. Yeah. Okay.
But this time college was free.
Yeah.
And I had a little more discipline in my life. Right. I was on a mission. So, I'm doing the college thing, and then
Where?
Sam Houston.
Okay.
State.
Yeah.
Criminal justice degree.
Your grades were probably fantastic.
They were.
Yeah, because you know what discipline was. You could probably sit there all day and read a book all day.
All day.
Yeah. It's the same thing that happened to me. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
In high school, my grades sucked, right? Barely passed, right? Go to the military, come back. I'm on the dean's list every semester. Truly, same exact thing. Dude. As soon as I got out of the military, went to college. Boom, crushed it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, there were still some of the alcohol involved in college, but not near what it was. But I still had that problem. And, girls obviously too still had that problem.
What do you mean that problem?
Just, being involved with them in ways I shouldn't before marriage,
Okay.
And, by and large, it's a distraction.
Oh, for sure.
Not only is it a sin, but it's a distraction. So I have that in my life too. And, but at this point I'm doing better. Right. And I've got, like you said,
Progress.
Discipline. Yeah. And, discipline, I bet you could sit there and read a book all day. I could. And I've always viewed it as, discipline is doing something you hate, but doing it like you love it.
Yes.
And that's what I did.
So Mike Tyson said is the key to success.
Is that who said that?
Mike Tyson says the difference between the first and second place person is the first place person figures out to like things that they didn't first like.
Yes.
Figure it out. Learn to like it.
Figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, man, I even got of the, the Goggins mentality where, like, I wanted something to suck. If it didn't suck, I didn't really want to do it.
Right. Because you know that discomfort equals growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time.
Challenge.
100%. 100%.
It's a natural phase of man's life, by the way.
Hopefully it is.
Yeah.
Some men I just don't know.
Dang.
Which I'm no judge.
Sounds a little judgy. Oh. So, Hey, you're in college. You get that criminal justice degree knocked out. What happens next?
I get bored of college again, and I have a friend who's well connected in the Department of Defense, and I get a job as a contractor.
What does that mean?
A defense contractor?
Yeah, what is that? What is that? What do they do? You hold a gun?
Yeah.
Why? What do you do with the gun?
You force protection operations.
What does that even mean? Stop speaking in Spanish over here.
I
don't understand.
You're pretty much in the military, but you're in a private interest group.
What does that mean? Private interest?
Yeah, so you work for the government, but you're a contracted security force.
Okay, kind of like Blackwater stuff.
100%, yeah.
Oh, 100%.
I worked for Triple Canopy, which was a brother company of Blackwater.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
So what happened? You got these guns.
Yeah.
And you're going places with them?
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Middle East.
Really?
All over the Middle East, yeah.
You went out there?
Mainly one place. But, yeah, it's funny, man. I was not qualified to be there.
Right, because
I had a little bit of SEAL training and some college at that point.
Yeah, it's not like you were a marksman or anything.
Right.
I mean, maybe.
But I was, though. I could blend in because of the way I grew up.
Right.
So it was like.
You got that experience.
Yeah.
It's a little different, though.
Of course.
From shooting deer to getting shot at the same time. And
right.
Okay. So how'd you get approved for that?
Dude, they counted my college as security experience.
Oh, shut up, dude.
Yes, man.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
What?
And, I don't even...
It's like, oh, can you breathe? You're approved, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how it was back then. Not for everyone, but somehow my friend had something to do with it. I don't know what it was.
Okay.
But anyways, it was a dangerous contract, too. It was...
How long were you out there?
About 5.5 months on that one.
Yeah?
And then I got a better gig because my foot was already in the door.
What's your most memorable moment being out there 5.5 months carrying a gun?
I got 2 of them. Rockets and mortars.
Yeah?
That was pretty memorable. Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Incoming, man. You hear the alarms going off, right? And I'm living in the middle of Israel, okay?
Dude.
Yeah. In an apartment. I live in a bomb shelter, okay?
Yeah.
So my door, you can shut it to my bedroom and pull it up the opposite way, and it'll seal it off, right? It's a certified bomb shelter.
What a nice amenity they had for you.
Of course. Yeah, it was great. I had one little window with bars on it. It's awesome.
Beautiful.
Typical Middle Eastern stuff. And anyways, you hear the alarms going off, and rockets just falling everywhere, exploding. And one specific rocket attack, I was in a town called Ashkelon. And are you familiar with the Gaza Strip at all? No?
Never been.
So Israel's shape, let's just call it a pie slice. The shape of Israel. You know the general shape of Israel. It kind of has a tip, right? Mm-hmm. Well, the Gaza Strip is on one of those corners. I live 15 clicks or 15,000 kilometers away from Gaza, right? But I'm in a town called Ashkelon, which is right here about the Gaza Strip. And Gaza is the home and the hub of Hamas operations. Oh. It's their territory, right? Yeah. And when I was there, Hezbollah was also heavily involved with Hamas. And Hezbollah is just Arabic for Party of God. They're just another Islamic jihadist group, right? Hate the Jews. Same story, same Middle East. And I'm in Ashkelon, and this rocket comes from Gaza real close to me, about 100 yards probably, and blows up. And 100 yards is...
That's close.
It's close.
It's right there.
Yeah.
You can see it.
That's close for an incoming.
A rocket?
Yes. Yes, a Qassam rocket. Big.
Did you say croissant?
Qassam.
Oh.
That's the name of them. And
apologies. You might be hungry.
Yeah, no, I heard you. And I haven't thought about this in a really long time. And it, just rattles my chest. That was one memory. But they shoot them low, that close to the border, so they're not picked up by something called CRAM. Mm-hmm. You know CRAM.
Take it out.
Right. Yeah, they can trajectorize that thing and send a Black Hawk, and that dude's wiped off the face of the earth. No problem. But when they put them like on the backs of vans and stuff and launch them almost eye level, CRAM's not going to pick them up.
Damn.
So they can get away with a lot. Close.
Sneaky.
Sneaky, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you almost got smoked by a rocket. What else?
Yeah.
What was the second thing out there?
The second thing out there was a few goat herders on a choke point in the road. A choke point is where, a choke point, it's a fatal funnel, pretty much, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, you got no way out.
You got no way out, and you're going through one point. You're choking down, bottleneck. and guy had a goat herder, goats going across the
Something
road.
tells me that he wasn't really goat herding that day.
He was conducting surveillance that day.
I was
But I
right.
thought he was doing something else. Yeah, you should sign up. You fit right in. So this dude's just looking at us, man, and I was thinking that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like this is going down right now.
Yep.
Right now, and it didn't. He was just conducting surveillance. Another one of those moments, man. But that's in my memory, burned, because I thought it's going down right now.
Right. Choke point.
Choke point.
Nothing good happens at a choke point.
Nothing good happens at a choke point ever.
Especially when you got a mischievous goat herder.
Right. You lose a year off your life going through a choke point and nothing happens, or that happens, or you get attacked at a choke point. Right. But yeah, just stuff like that all the time.
Yeah, you're on edge.
All the time.
You're on edge. Spooky.
All the time.
Okay. So you get out of the contracting business. What a relief. Sure. And then you're in a Houston area. What happens next?
Well, after I left Israel, I went and I did a few more contracts overseas.
How many more contracts?
Technically 4. Whoa. But I only went 2 other places. But because I couldn't get enough of it.
Those are
for
rough.
some reason. Yeah, it was.
And you liked hanging out with your buddies.
Of course.
It was like being back in buds.
Yeah, one of my best friends I met contracting.
See?
Our team medic. He's a good guy. Still friends with him. But anyways, so fast forward to that, I go back to college, and
Wait, so after the 4 contracts,
after the 3 contracts,
after the 3,
I go back to college.
you go back to college. Well, wait, let's touch upon those other contracts real quick, though. You said you had a better job.
I did.
What did that look like?
I got into the intel community. I started working intelligence. It was just way better, man.
Yeah, because less risk.
Less rest, more thinking.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You upgraded.
I did.
What's one thing that stood out to you? What was one thing that you never would expect to be true, but that you learned it being in that community? Like, wow, I could never have imagined this to be true, but it is.
It sounds a little conspiratory, but probably the thing that stands out to me the most is that there are real life spies. Legitimate spies that train their entire life and infiltrate the government.
And they're good.
Yeah. Very good.
Dang. Oh, boy. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so keep an eye out for getting that gut feeling.
That's right.
Right? That just might be a real spy.
You never know.
You're a friend that lives down the road? Yeah, I don't know. Just be careful out there. So, all right, back to school we go. What is this? 3rd time?
Something like that. And when
You love school.
Yeah, I'm on year like number 7 or something at this point for a 4-year degree.
Okay.
Or year number 8, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I get about where I have 9 hours left until I graduate with my 4-year degree.
Right around the corner.
My mom's dream was me to get a degree.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so I convinced the dean, all right, of internships at the school to let me go work another contract and count it as an internship. Yeah. And I did.
Yeah, that's life experience.
Called my buddies and got another job, another deployment. And my buddies would send the school reports of my internship while we were contracting.
Dang.
Yeah. On their military email.
Right.
So at .mil.
That's
Army,
leverage.
US Army .mil,
Yeah.
Of course it's leverage.
You freaking got your degree.
Yep. And it was legit too. It was transparent. Like they knew what I was doing,
Mm-hmm.
But
How'd you feel once you got that degree finally?
I actually felt good.
Yeah, right?
I never really cared for the idea of it. And I especially I'm glad I have it now because I wouldn't be where I am without it because of what it led me to do. But if my kids don't want to go to college, that's more than okay with me. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I am, at the time, I was proud of it.
Yeah.
I was.
Well, because our whole lives, there's the social construct of college, right? And it's okay for it to feel good.
Right.
Because you put in the time, you accomplish something. You put in the discipline, you accomplish something. Great.
Right.
Yeah. Anything like that should feel good at the end. Right. No doubt. Even like getting your freaking hunter safety course. It's 2 days.
Of course.
It feels good when you get it.
It does.
Right?
Yes.
Take the little tests at the end.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, awesome. I can
Forgot all about that.
Yeah. I got 100 on my test. Probably did too. So, because we cared about that.
I don't remember.
Not like English class. Yeah. So, eventually you became a state trooper.
I did.
What inspired that? Because here you got the degree.
Oh, man.
You did the contracting.
Yeah.
So what happened?
So I wanted to continue working for the IC beyond school, right? So I was applying for a few different types of jobs and got real close to getting where I wanted to be, very close. And but when I came home from that third deployment, I was talking to my niece. Her name's Blake, and she was real kind of skeptical of me because she hadn't seen me in a long time, been gone.
Yeah.
And that broke me, man. I was like, "Do you have nieces, nephews?
Yeah.
You love them to death, right?"
Yeah.
Imagine them being like, "Who are you?" All of a sudden, not good. Wasn't good for me. And I dropped it. I was like, I'm done. I'm done with international affairs. I'm done with caring about what's going on. I'm done with the federal government. I'm not going back because I want to be here with this kid and my family.
Right.
All of a sudden.
Yeah.
And so I meet with a trooper at Denny's. I have buddies that knew this lieutenant, okay? And he tells me about all this different stuff the state does. And I was like, that is so awesome. That's, because you think of troopers as like these highway guys that just are so by the book, and it's not that at all. And it just sounded good, and I applied, and I got in the first time somehow.
It's rare.
Went to the academy. It is rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's about 3,500 applicants per class.
Dang.
And you get about 120
That's it?
per DPS academy. Yeah.
It's one
and
boot
then
camp
about
class.
75, 80 of those actually make it through the academy because it's crazy. And I was not expecting it at all, dude.
Really?
Really.
It was intense, huh?
It was very intense. Yeah.
Not like boot camp? More
Worse
intense
than
than
boot camp.
Worse
Yes.
than boot camp.
Yes, dude, we had all 4 branches in there. Some of them special operations.
Yeah.
We all agreed, like, that academy is way worse. And it's a secret. Like, troopers know how bad it sucks. Because it sucks.
How long is it?
6 months.
Dang.
Yeah.
That sucks.
You don't get your phones back on the weekend, too, like as a full-grown man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. My buddy in New York went to the state. I remember that.
Yeah.
He barely talked to him.
Yeah, and it's a bunch of brainwashing, man, stuff. Not in a super bad way. It's discipline focused. But it's very hard. It's very hard.
Yeah, because they have to teach you things like, hey, if this person's dying and this person's dying, who do you save?
Yeah, of course.
And you got to shut off your emotion.
You prioritize. Yeah.
Yeah. It's some crazy circumstances that they prepare you for.
100%. Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yep. And
Okay.
and two, it's like you just never know what you're gonna get into these days on the side of the road, man. You just never know.
Oh, yeah. I watch a lot of videos on YouTube. I don't know why they always pop up, but like people getting pulled over and there's some weird stuff happening.
Oh, dude.
It's all the time.
Weird stuff.
Nonstop, endless videos.
Weird stuff. And sometimes it's like troopers work alone. So you be in the middle of the night, humongous drunk guy who says he's not going to jail. It's just you. And you're like, yeah, you are. And they're like, no, son, don't do this. I'm not. No, you're going. One way or another, you're going. And you fight them straight up, 100%. And it's legal, and you're right for doing it, But
What? What do you mean you fight them?
like you fight them in the bar
Freaking
ditch.
donk them?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yes. You take no chances, yeah.
Oh, that's freaking Texas tough right there,
Yep.
dude.
Yes.
She.
And that's what's so funny about the job. I don't know.
It's Wild West.
It is.
It's classy and professional. You got the uniform, and you have to conduct. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Of
course.
And then at the same time, you're like, come on.
Yep.
Oh.
Oh, dude.
All right. So 5 years that.
Uh-huh.
What's some memorable moments for you?
So many.
Really?
So many.
You ever have to shoot a cat because it was on its way out?
Never shot a cat.
My buddy had to. He's a cop in New Paltz, New York. He had to put out a cat, and I felt,
Not that I remember, man.
that's good, dude. That's good. I consider yourself lucky, man. He's still scarred.
Is he?
Yeah. That poor little kitty, dude. Can you imagine the little cat? It's like,
I actually did have to kill a cat one time on the road, but I was off duty, and it had ants all over it.
ew.
I had to smack it with a stick.
A stick, yeah. I had to do a possum with a massive rock because it got hit by a car and its jaw was like here.
Yeah.
And it couldn't eat. It's just going to starve to death. I said, man, I got to help you out, dude, because it's sick.
See
sick.
you later.
Yeah. Good for you. Way to help it out. Anyways, let's get past that.
Yeah.
All right. 5 years of state trooping. What year did you stop doing that?
2 years ago.
When did it?
It's 2022, June.
When did the tomatoes come into play?
2017. I was a trooper, brand new.
Yeah.
And I started my own company when I'd been a trooper like 3 months.
Right.
Started the tomatoes.
Now, to my understanding, the tomato business is no longer into fruition.
Correct.
And I'm surprised because, folks, look, you got tomatoes, and then you got tomatoes, all right? And Spencer was showing me pictures of his crops, and my eyes lit up like I opened Pandora's box. But instead, I was just looking at juicy, crispy tomatoes.
Right. It's true.
And I was saying you were the tomato king, and he agreed. So Spencer, after all that glory in the plant kingdom, what happened?
So we get this greenhouse, okay?
Yeah,
and we get it all temperature.
Nice.
It was. We get it all temperature controlled. It sounds like I'm making it up, you know.
No.
But you've seen it.
Yes.
You saw it. So,
yes.
But we get this thing all temperature controlled, environmental controlled, permits from the county, all this stuff, and we start this tomato business, and we're doing hydroponics. So it's soilless agriculture. We're not growing these tomatoes in the soil. We're growing them on top of perlite, which is re-enriched volcanic rock. Okay. So the root systems, they thrive on top of this, and you trickle a certain amount of nitrogen, potassium, and I'm having a brain fart, phosphorus onto them, and they thrive. So my tomato plants would, be alive 9 months, and the vines would be 90 feet long. And you're constantly lowering them down and scooting them over on this big cable and growing them in a circle all year round.
Yeah, so they can continue to grow.
Yes. So tomato vines 1 inch around or bigger than you've ever seen.
That's a big inch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was probably 2, but
Okay.
about yay.
That's a girthy vine.
Yeah. So, but we did that and everything was going great. And then everything started just going wrong. I tell you everything because I don't even remember it all. It was so much. But I had a business partner. Last time in my life I'll ever have a business partner. Me and the guy are still friends to this day. I'd never let it come between our friendship ever. But no one will ever care about your stuff like you do as an entrepreneur. If you're going to be a successful entrepreneur, right? Because entrepreneurship is its own animal. It's very hard, very daunting.
Oh, it's the ultimate test.
It's the ultimate test. And you and I don't mean this to sound selfish or have any sort of love of money or anything, but you can't really, the sharing of it doesn't really work at first. If you have a vision, you have to keep that and protect that. Employ people, like put the right people on the bus that are going to take you to where you're trying to go, but don't share the decision-making with someone. And I made that mistake, but, and not because the guy's a bad guy or anything like that. It's just because, we're not ants. We don't have a hive mind. It needs to be under one mind, one control. But
dang, well said.
But anyways, it's like we're growing these tomatoes and I have all these agreements and stuff with the power company. Like I have the power company who supplies the power to my greenhouse to make sure my plants can stay cool and hot in the winter because I had propane heating on this thing too. They had a backup credit card where if for some reason we defaulted on an electrical payment, the backup credit card would cover the payment. They would never cut our electricity off.
Right. That's the point.
Hindsight, should have had a backup generator. But I'm a state trooper also. And
busy. Yeah.
50, 70 hours a week busy. And
fighting guys.
All the people at the office that I barely know at this point, a lot of them are telling me, like, oh, what's it going to be? Like tomatoes, or are you going to be a trooper? Or they're either like trying to give me a choice like that, or they're trying to say like, just being haters, man. I don't know if you've ever encountered that sort of opposition, but it's tough.
You know what's weird? I haven't.
Yeah. Well,
thankfully.
It was hard because I got this new obligation as being a trooper, and it's about 1.5 years total before you become a full-blown trooper. It's a long process, and they invest a lot of money into you. And it's I'm pretty much being told, like, by especially some few people, which it doesn't bother me, but it did at the time. It was trying to get in my head, it was, you got to pick one, tomatoes or be a trooper. When I was performing just fine, but what it was, sometimes certain type of people, if you're doing anything different or interesting around them, they want to try and tear you down.
They got a fixed mindset.
Yes.
You got the growth abundance mindset. You say,
Yeah.
I can do all this. It's all about leverage and time management,
Right.
systems and processes.
Time that I have.
Yeah.
And I was probably sleeping 2 hours a night, honestly. But it was some of the hardest work I ever did. But I learned so much on this company that failed. But fast forwarding, after all these problems, the power company cut off the greenhouse. And I show up to my greenhouse. And anytime you lose plants, you lose about 90 days of cash flow. You can't just turn product back around. You have to restart from a seed.
Stop.
Yeah. Dude. Yeah. So
a little tiny seed.
Man. And it's meticulous. So I walk in my greenhouse. It's about 155 degrees.
Yeah.
Probably more. It felt like more. And all my plants are just down. It's the middle of the heat. No cooling has been happening for the past 8 hours because I've been on shift, had a hard day as a trooper. Come back, and my business is just in shambles.
All it took was 8 hours.
Yeah. I started throwing up, man. I was so sick to my stomach. Just hard work.
The electric company.
Yeah.
What happened?
I called them, and you probably know about how that went. And they pretty much told me, too bad, so sad. So we tear all the stuff out, and we're about to restart again. And I'm just thinking to myself, man, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way to be an entrepreneur and not go through what I'm going through right now. So I shut everything down. And my dad and my mom, they've been pretty good encouragements in my life.
Yeah.
And some of my close friends too as well. It usually doesn't work that way. Most of the time the close friends are the ones that don't encourage you. Mine have encouraged me. And I'm thankful for that. But even they were like, you're just going to give up? But only I knew at the time, like, no, I've got to reinvent myself right here. And I've got to figure something else out. There's a better way, and it's not this. And I knew that.
Yeah.
But it's so random because at one point in time, I think I knew more about growing tomatoes than possibly anybody in the state of Texas. It's just random.
Tomato king.
Yeah, the trooper, a random state trooper, growing tomatoes.
What do a tomato and a trooper have in common?
Yeah.
Yeah. Spencer Shaw.
And that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So in business and in life, there's a term that we use. It's called the cost of education. Now, you spent some money on your business. You lost some money on the business. Overall, did you profit? Did you have these are things that the various scenarios that could happen, right? Let's say you're X thousands of dollars in the hole from doing this. Well, think about a 4-year degree and think about how much you've learned in that 4-year degree compared to the amount you've learned by actually doing the thing.
Right.
The cost and then the result. 100%. I think the tomato farm is way more worth it, dollar per dollar. Wouldn't you agree?
I would. And the funny thing of that is, I'll just be open about it on here. It doesn't bother me a bit. My net worth was negative $70,000 when I lost everything.
Yeah.
After I liquidated everything and all that. Dude, I was so hard up that I took credit cards out that had no interest payments for 12 months. And I lived off that, knowing that I was going to try and pay it back in 12 months. Now, I had it all calculated where if it all failed, I could off my trooper salary. And I did. I lived with my parents in my old bedroom. Talk about it. Talk about hurting my pride, right? Didn't do anything except read investment books, probably about 90 to 100 of them, and study business and not do anything or go out anywhere and just pay my debt off.
Wow.
It was a metamorphosis time.
Dude.
Big time.
Seriously.
Big time.
You go down into the cave.
Down into the cave.
You don't know where the light is, but you just keep walking. And then all of a sudden there's the light.
Yeah.
And here you are now.
And on top of that, dude, you got everybody else that said, originally like, oh, well, you're going to grow tomatoes. Oh, that's cool. Good luck with that, buddy. You got all those people just compounding on top of the failure saying, hey, I told you you weren't going to be anything. I told you weren't going to succeed. Why do you even try?
When you look at the big picture, the tomatoes was simply a stepping stone.
Oh, dude.
A stepping stone to get into the house building, and you've taken all those lessons, the appreciation for the dollar, the backup for the backup processes, right? All of that, and applied it to this. And here we have something that's working.
100%.
Yes.
Yes.
Now imagine if right after high school, you got right into home building. You're like, no, dude. That wouldn't have worked.
No, it couldn't have worked out any other way than it did.
Okay.
That's for sure.
All right.
I'll tell you, even if I got into home building first, that would have failed and tomatoes would have succeeded. Because it's entrepreneurship is a skill set first and a mindset. It's a different set of rules. It's not even the thing you're doing. It's your mindset, your skill set.
Who you're being.
Your sets of rules, how you value your time.
Your principles that you live by.
100%. 100%.
Your discipline.
Yes.
Yeah. Spencer, let's talk about the future. What a roller coaster this has been. What incredible stories. I laughed my tail off. I don't always get to laugh on this show because sometimes we're a little serious, but this is fantastic. We're covering all the bases. Now,
Right.
The bright, shiny future. What's your big, hairy, audacious goal in life?
Man, honestly, it's to bring glory to God with whatever I do.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever I do.
Yeah.
Whether that's building houses or if I get called into ministry.
Yes.
It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
I want to bring him glory because he saved me from my sin, man.
Yes.
And to put that into context,
it could unfold in many ways. And we don't know because when we are present, we're connected with God. And you might get a message tomorrow that says you're called to do something else.
Well, are we going to go back and are we going to talk about after the tomatoes a little bit?
Oh, you want to?
We can. There's just a little more.
Oh, we got to sprinkle that on top, please.
Sounds good.
Please enlighten us. So what happened after the tomatoes?
To make a long story short, I'm in my parents' room. I'm doing all this stuff, and I start trading stocks. Bitcoin, exclusively Bitcoin at one point. And I make all my money back.
What?
Yeah. And then some.
Dude, I don't know how. That's crazy.
Dude.
What?
And then so here I am.
It's like legal.
So at this point, I'm like still a trooper, and I'm telling all my buddies like what they should buy. And nobody's listening. And I tell my parents like how they should spend their retirement. Nobody's listening because all I am is just a crazy tomato guy at this point, right? Like, okay, yeah, your little stock thing, whatever. I pay off all my debt, and then I use the remainder of that money to start the company I have now. After just educating myself and using my cell phone, Robinhood, right? And Coinbase, numerous different platforms I used.
Yeah.
And all I had was time. And I used it to research companies and make like fundamental business decisions.
Yeah.
And that's how I learned about business. I learned what a good business was, so I could invest in them, and I would double or triple my money, and I would get out of them. And I used it to make my own. So, and all glory to God for giving me that knowledge, because I was just reading a bunch of random books at first, and they were just coming out of nowhere, and I had this uncontrollable urge to digest the information. I'm not saying God will make you rich. Has nothing to do with money. But at this point, it was. There's got to be a better way to do this, and there was. So it started with stocks. Then I meet my wife, right? Well, we're both lost. Still don't believe in Jesus. We're not saved. We're not redeemed people. Just living like hell. And she goes to church and gets saved. And we're in a very rough patch. And I'm building my own house at this point. A tiny house I built just because I was just going to do my own thing and build a house out of cash and live there and be debt free. I'm on a totally different path at starting.
Yeah, you had a different type of appreciation for the money.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's like, it's one thing to make it. Now it's another thing to keep it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Yep.
We could talk all day about that.
Yeah.
Texas and everything else. But she gets saved, and she becomes this completely different person all of a sudden. And I'm like, I lived with Buddhists and Muslims and Jews, and I'm still really confused theologically about what's right and what's wrong, right? And I was saved when I was little. I was accepted Jesus into my heart and raised my hand and got baptized, right? Really all I did was go swimming because I didn't bear any fruit after that. I had no fruit. And Jesus said, you'll know a good tree by its fruit. Yeah, a bad tree can't bear good fruit, and a good tree can't bear bad fruit. You'll know them by their fruit. Saying that if you are a redeemed person and you do believe in Jesus Christ as a sacrifice for your sin, that you will bear good fruit. You will have fruits of the Spirit. They will know you by your fruit, that something's different about you, right?
Right.
So I noticed these things in my wife, and as the Bible says, that they will inquire about the hope that you have. And she has this newfound hope in someone named Jesus. And I'm pretty much laughing at this point, right? Like, okay, sure, I'll go to church with you. It's because I really liked her. She was funny.
Yeah.
So I end up at church with her. Then I go back to church. And then back to church. And before you know it, I'm just in tears, man, and completely broken over something called sin that I didn't know I had in my life.
Mm.
And it was a lot at one point in time. It was a lot, the premarital sex, the alcohol, the drugs, even all kinds of stuff, man. I just didn't know. It's like all of a sudden I realized I was a sinner and I needed someone to save me. And that someone was Christ. And he promises, like we were talking about earlier this morning, was that once he calls you out of darkness, he draws you out of darkness from your sin, and that he starts a good work in you that he will see through to the end. And that good work is to sanctify you, to slowly make you look like Christ looked. Because on our bottles, I don't have mine with me, but on our company bottles in our shirts, it says 2 Corinthians 5:21. And what that pretty much means is, or what it says is, he made him who knew no sin for us, so that we may be made the righteousness of God in him. So he made him. God made him, Christ, who knew no sin. Christ knew no sin for us, so that we may be made the righteousness of God in him, in Christ. So when God looks at us, he sees his son instead of our sinful flesh, which biblically and theologically and everything else makes us eligible to commune with the Father in heaven after our death. So I went through all that in a very short amount of time. And it's like Christ just turned my entire life upside down. And after that, everything started working out.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's not, I don't mean it to say either, like the health and wealth gospel, that doesn't exist, like, I'll believe on Jesus' name and he'll make you rich. That is, Jesus didn't even have a place to lay his head. He's not about wealth and riches. For some reason, I'm blessed with this company. I don't know why yet, but it's working out for me. But that was a big part of it.
It's huge.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard similar cases, right? We call that a testimony.
100%.
Yeah, when people become saved, and more times than not, if not every time, their life changes drastically for the better.
It has to.
And if things ever take a downturn, they at least have the foundation to weather the storm.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Jesus said a wise man builds his house on rock. He's talking about himself. He is the rock. He is the rock of ages. He's the vein that runs through the entire Bible. The angel of the Lord from the Old Testament. I don't want to get too far down on theology, but that's what he means by that. A wise man builds his house on the rock, and the foolish man builds his house on the sand. And when the storm comes, which one's standing? And it's so true, man. It's so true. If you believe in Christ and you're not broken over your sin and you're not convicted and your life doesn't change for the better, that's when Paul talks about in the Bible to test yourselves. He says, put yourselves to the test to see if you are in the faith, because it is important to know if you are. It's a big deal. It might be the biggest decision you ever make, because everything we talked about up until this point is temporal things we just do here on earth.
Yeah.
And James 4:14 says, your life is but a vapor. You're like a mist that appears for a little while, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
So you could say, pondering these things is the biggest decision one will ever make,
Let's take a second to reiterate what Spencer just said. Pondering these things can be what did you say?
So I'll just shorten it up for you like this. What Scripture says to work out your salvation with great fear and trembling.
Yeah, yeah.
Which just means the biggest thing you could ever think about is your own salvation and where you are going when you do die. because we are but a vapor,
Mm-hmm. And I think it's imperative for anybody to do that, to achieve wholeness, completeness. Yeah. Okay. That's good. Hey, we don't really talk about that too much on this podcast, but it's good.
And that is the biggest pivotal moment of my entire life.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
And I can't even tell you.
It fires you up.
It does.
Yeah.
It definitely does.
Yeah.
And before that, something else I missed before we carry on was when I was a trooper. On top of that was George Floyd. You remember this?
Mm-hmm.
Were you here?
In America?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or were you here in Austin?
I think so.
It was pretty bad in Austin. But I was at Houston. We get to Houston, man, and it's just chaos, dude. Gunshots, explosions, rocks being thrown, people running around crazy. I can't breathe. And we're sitting there with our shields and our whooping sticks, all the stuff cops do during protest. And that's when I decided, man, I'm going to find a way out of this.
Yeah. It's negative, man.
Yeah.
It's harsh energy.
Yeah.
To process, yeah.
100%, man. 100%.
Yeah, I think you've had your fair share of fighting evil in your life.
A little bit.
More or less. Yeah. What's that face you're making?
I'm trying to decide if I want to finish this off or not.
Looks like you wanted to finish it off. So, Spencer, you've got a lot of irons in the fire, so to speak. Okay? You're a different man. You become a different man 3 or 4 times over throughout the course of your life. And more evolution to come at this rate. No doubt about it. Yeah. What's the ultimate message that you'd like to share with the world?
Other than the one I just alluded to about Christ.
Yeah. Your message. Or maybe they're one and the same.
They are.
They are.
But, if I had one thing to say other than that, it would be to care about every second of your day if you want to do what you and I do. We talked about it a little bit in life already, me and you, just knowing each other. But then don't care about every second of your day. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something, period. Because you're going to get made fun of no matter what you do, no matter what you try and start, no matter what you try and do that's new or interesting. You're going to have a laundry list of people that are going to tell you it's a bad idea. And that are going to tell you you're never going to make it, or you're never going to be anything. Some will just actively try and destroy it. That people that are close to you. I've experienced this. And they're going to tell you, see, I told you couldn't make it. After a month goes by and 6 months go by, they're going to tell you, I told you couldn't make it again.
It's just so absurd.
Oh, it is.
That people speak like that.
And they're going to keep being right every month until you do make it. And then they're going to say, I knew you could do it. But just keep those.
Hey, thanks for the encouragement along the way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But just keep your eye on the prize. Don't let anyone talk you out of anything as far as entrepreneurship goes, because this isn't for everybody, And the other thing too is to not have a zero-sum mindset, and that is
all or nothing.
All or nothing, or I want to build the biggest building in town, but I want to do it by knocking over everyone else's building, right?
That's the alpha male brain. The alpha male is the guy that doesn't care about other people. He's super confident, can conquer the whole world,
right?
But does blow everything up along the way.
Right.
Then you've got the beta male. We're going to get into a quick lesson here. The beta male is the little submissive, a little bit more in his feminine, right? A little bit of a pushover. But then you've got the secure sigma male. The secure sigma knows when to be in the feminine, knows when to be in the neutral, knows when to be in the masculine. And that's why I would say it takes time to be extremely successful in business, because you've got to enter that space.
Oh, man.
It's very hard to be a jerk and successful, right? The most successful people are the most humble because they know exactly what it takes to get there. 100%. All the hard work. They're nice. Grant Cardone, you say what he wants about his marketing tactics and stuff. Dude's super successful, and anytime I hear about somebody meeting him, they say, oh, he's awesome, because he gets it. Dude can start $1 million company being dropped off in the middle of nowhere, right?
Yes.
That's no joke.
He's something else.
It's something else, okay? But he's humble. Going back to you. It's a very powerful message. Thank you for sharing that. What would you say to your younger self today if you could talk to him?
What I would say to my younger self, man, what I would want him to know is to repent of his sin and turn to Christ. That's what I would want him to know. But he wouldn't believe me. I had many people tell me that when I was young. Didn't believe any of them. Thought it was a lie. Other than that, I mean, I can't think of anything he would possibly listen to.
Right.
You know, don't put that Cabbage Patch Kid in a car seat.
Gonna do it.
He's going to do it. He'll put 2 in there just because you said not to.
What about words of encouragement?
Don't give up, man.
Don't give up? Okay.
Don't give up.
That's a good one.
So cliche. But going back to that zero-sum mindset is, you know, they think, because I was kind of that way when I was young, they think the economic pie is this big. And in order for you to have more, you have to have a bigger slice of the existing pie. But I would probably tell him, come up with something where you can add to the pie instead of take away from someone else's pie.
Yeah.
Because the economy's forever growing, because our population's forever growing. There's always a new product or service or business to get into.
Add to the pie.
Add to the
Don't
pie.
take your piece of the pie.
Don't take from someone else.
Make a bigger pie.
Yes. And I had a problem with that when I was really young, which is probably the reason why I failed a lot. And that comes from an over-competitive nature of a young man, you know, like you said, just being an alpha male.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I tell them.
Anything you want to say to your parents in case they catch this episode?
And I pretty much speak my mind all the time around them. They know.
Well, I got something to say to them.
Yeah.
Hey, Shaws. It's me, Greg. It's been 7 years or so since I've seen you last, but I hope everything's going well and you're enjoying your travels because I know your mom loves to travel.
Right.
That's right. She asked me for tips from New York.
She does.
Yeah.
She does.
I hope she had a good time on that trip.
Yeah. I think she's in, man, she flew out somewhere, but her and my dad did.
Yeah.
Like yesterday. I don't know where.
Great.
Man, they're old. They're just enjoying their life.
I hope so.
Yeah.
They should.
They should.
Wow. Spencer, what a ride. What a ride. Thanks for coming out to Austin.
Yeah.
To share your story in your very first podcast.
Yeah.
You should do these more often. You should share your story more often.
Yeah.
You should share your testimony more often.
I might.
Yeah. This could be a gateway to a lot of things. Maybe even host your own podcast in Houston. It's not very difficult once you get in the swing of things.
Correct.
Yeah. Because I think that your message is strong and it's going to change a lot of people's lives. Folks, if you want to get a hold of Spencer, he's a reachable guy. Instagram page?
Nope.
Website, email?
Just website and Facebook.
Facebook.
Yeah.
So the company Facebook page?
It's Shaw Construction.
Shaw Construction, based out of Houston.
Based out of Houston.
Send you a message on there?
Yeah, or just go to my website, put in an inquiry. It's shawpropcon.com.
shawpropcon.com.
Yeah, I almost said at Gmail, but that's the email.
Or shawpropcon@gmail.com. Oh, he leaked it. You better send him an email quick. Folks, Austin Elite Podcast. Sometimes we get out of towners based on their story being so profound, so significant. Like Joe Patty, she came from I don't know where. She drove 5 hours to get here. Joe Patty, you talked about her briefly.
I did.
Yeah, she drove 5 hours because her story is just so compelling. So is yours. So thank you again for coming along. Till next time, everybody. Greg Carlson, your host. As always, stay fired up.